The first divisional round matchup that we have to talk about in the game that I am the most excited to watch this weekend are the Baltimore Ravens going on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills. This game is going to be played on Saturday with the 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. The Bills are a 3-point favorite heading into this matchup. Last week, both these two teams won on Wild Card Weekend. The Bills defeated the Indianapolis Colts 27-24. The Ravens defeated the Tennessee Titans 20-13. Now, I was really impressed with the Baltimore Ravens' performance offensively last week in their win against the Tennessee Titans. Now, everybody's going to talk about how great of a game Lamar Jackson played. He was 17-24 for 179 passing yards, had one reception. He didn't really have an incredible game from a passing standpoint, but where Lamar Jackson made his presence felt was on the ground. He had 136 rushing yards on 16 carries for one touchdown. What impressed me the most about Baltimore's offensive performance wasn't just what Lamar Jackson did, but what this offense did as a whole. Because remember, heading into the second quarter, the Baltimore Ravens were down 10-0 to Tennessee. And we've seen plenty of games this year that when Baltimore would get down, they would decide to abandon the run game and attempt to throw the football to get back into the game. Well, this was a different story. Despite ending the first quarter down 10-0 to Tennessee, Baltimore never got away from who they were offensively, which they are a run, ground and pound football team. They want to run the football down your throat, and they want to control time of possession. And that's what really impressed me the most about Baltimore, because there were a lot of games this year that Baltimore would be down and they would decide to get away from the run game and they would try to win the game throwing the football. That is not who they are. They are a team that can throw the football if they need be, but this is a offense that is dictated on running the football, zone reads with Lamar Jackson, getting Lamar Jackson involved. Also utilizing J.K. Dobbins, who has really came on over the last couple of weeks. You also got Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards. Can't forget about those guys as well. When you look at Buffalo's defense is incredibly vulnerable when it comes to stopping the run. Their run defense is not good. Last week, Buffalo's defense, in my opinion, didn't really have that great of a game against Indianapolis, because Indianapolis, even though they lost the game, they still played the game they wanted to play the game, which is running the football, controlling time of possession, which is similar to what Baltimore's offensive philosophy is. Now, even though Indianapolis and Baltimore's offenses are a lot different, they still have the same mentality, which is control time of possession and run the football. Indianapolis ran for well over 100 yards, and they held the ball for 34 minutes and 17 seconds compared to Buffalo holding the ball for 25 minutes and 43 seconds. So Indianapolis was able to play the kind of football that they wanted to. Buffalo wasn't able to stop Indianapolis' run game until Buffalo got out to a pretty solid lead, and Indianapolis had no choice but to throw the football to get back into the game. So I am really concerned about Buffalo's run defense heading into this matchup. Now, every time opposing teams' fan base has to go against the Baltimore Ravens, there's always a lot of people who go down the comment section down below and they always say, JT, we're going to shut down Lamar Jackson. We're going to stop Lamar Jackson. Me and a lot of people who watch me preview Baltimore's games have a really different perspective on what I consider and what you guys consider Lamar Jackson getting quote shut down. In my opinion, Lamar Jackson getting shut down means that you held Lamar Jackson to 20 rushing yards or less. If you can't hold Lamar Jackson to 20 rushing yards or less, you didn't shut him down. In Buffalo, I'm sorry you Buffalo Bills fans out there. I love you guys with all my heart. You guys support the channel a lot. You guys show a lot of support, but you're not going to be able to stop Lamar Jackson. Okay, now when you go back and you watch that Tennessee Titans game, yes, Lamar Jackson got bottled up a good amount of times, but Lamar Jackson also had some big breakout runs as well. Tennessee is not constructed the same way that the Buffalo Bills defense is. Okay, so for all you Buffalo Bills fans out there who think that the Buffalo Bills are just going to come in here and they're just going to shut down Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson isn't going to be effective in the run game after he just ran for 136 rushing yards last week against Tennessee. Meanwhile, you allowed Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines to both run for 75 yards. On top of that, Nyheim Hines had 6 carries, which he was averaging 12.5 yards per attempt. Jonathan Taylor was averaging 3.7 yards per attempt. So if you couldn't have success stopping Indianapolis ground game, there's no possible way you can expect anybody to have confidence that you're going to be able to come in here and you're just going to shut down Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens rushing attack. I don't think that's going to happen. Now for Buffalo, their offense, on the other hand, was incredible. Josh Allen had a really great performance against Indianapolis. He was 26 of 35 for 324 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. What impressed me the most was a drive that the Buffalo Bills had. I believe it was before halftime. Josh Allen rolled out of the pocket. He threw the ball towards the sideline, and it was caught by wide receiver Gabriel Davis twice in the same drive on the sideline. It was spectacular throws with spectacular catches as well. Josh Allen is really becoming one of the elite quarterbacks that we have in the game. And he is really close to being considered a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion, because he is really close to breaking through that ceiling. Like, Josh Allen is becoming like a different version of Patrick Mahomes. Everybody talks about Patrick Mahomes and what he's able to do outside the pocket. But when you look at Josh Allen, man, this dude is incredible. And if you were to ask me, I think that Josh Allen is a way better athlete than Patrick Mahomes. Because when we think about some of the best running quarterbacks in the NFL, we think about Lamar Jackson, we think about Russell Wilson, but nobody talks about Josh Allen. Josh Allen is also in that discussion as well, even though he hasn't used his legs as much as he has the previous couple of seasons that he's been in the NFL, because he's gotten a lot better throwing inside the pocket. You still can't count out Josh Allen's athleticism, because Josh Allen can make some highlight reel runs as well. Now, a big weakness that Baltimore has is that this secondary is really aggressive. You have 2 of the most aggressive cornerbacks in the NFL, Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. Cornerbacks are really physical. They like to get up in your face. They want to get up in your grill. They want to put your hands on you. And when you're physical like that, that is really good. Because when you're physical in the NFL and you're able to dominate teams, opposing wide receivers, by just throwing them off the routes, throwing off the timing, it works really well. But it also can be a really big flaw, because when you're that physical, you tend to have a lot of pass interference calls on you more times than not. And the Baltimore Ravens get penalized a lot when it comes to pass interference calls. And you look at how Buffalo likes to throw the football downfield. Josh Allen has one of the strongest arms in the NFL. When you look at Buffalo's vertical passing game, I have a lot of concerns about Buffalo's vertical pass game and how it's going to affect this Baltimore Ravens secondary. Not because I don't believe that Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey aren't good. Like, I like Marlon Humphrey a lot, even though he struggled against A.J. Brown last weekend. And I do like Marcus Peters a lot. But when you have aggressive cornerbacks who are really physical and really handsy, you get a lot of penalties downfield that are called on those cornerbacks more times than not. And you look at Buffalo with this air raid attack, since they don't really have a lot of success running the football, they pretty much have an air raid pass first offense, which they like to stretch the field downfield. So when Buffalo starts to throw the football downfield and they start to open up this passing game, I don't really know how Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey are going to be able to perform, because a lot of times when teams throw the football downfield on Baltimore, they have a lot of pass interferences calls on them that are called in the opposing team's favor. So if Buffalo attacks the vertical passing game, well, they utilize the vertical passing game, against the Ravens secondary, I think that could cause a lot of problems for Baltimore secondary, because Baltimore secondary is really good, but they are incredibly physical, and being physical can be really good, but it can also be your downfall, because when you're physical, you get a lot of pass interference calls against you more times than not. So for Buffalo, I really want to see Buffalo not just try to stop Lamar Jackson, but my thing is, you need to get up to a big lead on Baltimore. You need to force Baltimore to have to throw the football to win the game. So by doing that, if you get out to a big lead going into halftime, let's say Buffalo is up 24-3 going into halftime. Baltimore is going to have no choice but to readjust their game plan, and they're going to have to throw the football to win the game. Because if you're down 24-3 going into halftime, you are going to have to try to run the football, but you're going to have to try to throw the football to get back into the game. So Buffalo gets out to a very big lead. Buffalo is going to be at the advantage. Now, if you are a Baltimore Ravens fan, you want the Ravens to keep this game close. And not only that, but you want Baltimore to continue to have the success that they had on the ground like they did last week. Because like I said earlier, Indianapolis and Baltimore, yes, how they run their offenses are different, but their offensive philosophies are pretty much the same. They both want to run the football. They want to control time possession. Indianapolis was able to do it. They were able to run for over 100 rushing yards. They were able to control time possession. So if Indianapolis can do it, I'm pretty sure Baltimore can do it as well, which is why I am taking the Buffalo Bills to lose this game against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to take the Ravens to pull off the upset. I think that the Ravens have the team that can stop Buffalo's offense, even though Buffalo's offense has been scorching hot over the last 3 months. I trust Baltimore's ability to get after Josh Allen, Calais Campbell, Yannick Ngakoue. Derek Wolfe had a really good game against Tennessee as well. Their defensive line is really good. Really good. And I don't really think that Buffalo has faced a great defensive line this good since they played the Pittsburgh Steelers a couple of weeks ago during the regular season. And also, you look at Buffalo's secondary. Their secondary didn't really play all that great against Indianapolis. Like, Phillip Rivers had his best playoff performance, in my opinion, in his whole entire career. Like, he balled out against Buffalo's secondary. So, for me, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. 27-24 is my final score prediction in this game. I think this game is going to be very close. I think it's going to come down to whoever gets the ball last. But I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to pull off the upset. I think that this game could go either way, but I have a lot of confidence in Baltimore's ability to run the football, and the fact that the Buffalo Bills' run defense hasn't really been all that great, especially when you look at how they performed last week against the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to have to take the Ravens to win this game. So let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.